Happy Friday, everybody. Today is April 26th, and that means we're only 10 days away. And I wanted to make this video before I got my weekend started, but I've had a really great week. Minus 2 days, I was down bad, sick as a dog, but we're better now, so that's all that matters. So one thing I wanted to hit on today is the power of advocating for yourself. And it's a trend and a theme that I've obviously still working on, but definitely made a big point in my 20s to address because I was never a good advocate for myself. Coming from the conditioning of just people pleasing and trying to make sure that everyone else around me is good, even when I'm not. I don't know why you did that. I think that has created it's a barrier in and of itself for me to be able to advocate and stand on my morals, my ethics, my principles, my beliefs, my value system, and create boundaries and to draw lines in the sand and to speak up when I need to, even if it causes conflict or even if it's uncomfortable. Because let's be honest, when you stand up for yourself, you're an outlier. Like, you automatically create this distance between yourself and the situation. So my topic today stems from an interview I just finished watching, the Amanda Seales interview with Club Shay Shay that everyone's talking about. And I know everyone's kind of divided on the issue because she's such a polarizing persona. But one thing I took from that is the power of advocating for yourself, because at the end of the day, only you know your truth, your experiences, what happened to you, and the context surrounding those things. And for people to diminish the validity of your experiences is something that Black women have experienced, obviously systemically in this society, but then even just as a millennial coming up, whether it's your age, you're a young Black woman, so they don't take you seriously, or you're an older Black woman, so they don't take you seriously, or you're an educated Black woman, so then you're overqualified for the spaces, or you're being precocious, or you're being all of these things, and it's just hard, and I have always felt scared to advocate for myself. I've just kind of got along to get along. The way that this ties into my countdown to 30 is because I have always just wanted to please people. I just want to make sure people are good, and not necessarily I need you to like me, but I just don't want to be the root or the origin of conflict or dysfunction. And so sometimes that means keeping the peace. That means choosing your battles, right? That means biting your tongue. And as women, we're socialized in order to elevate, then expressing, advocating, or creating boundaries is not the way. And that's for lack of a better term. But I just was so encouraged by her interview today and how strongly she stood on business and corrected him when things were incorrect. And she clarified the things that needed clarity. And she communicated articulately and succinctly and clearly about the way she felt and delineated fact from feeling. And I think that's the power. Now, don't get me wrong. I still believe you win more with honey than you do with vinegar. So sometimes your message can be contaminated if your delivery is nasty. So I think it's always best to make sure that even if it's a message of truth, that you deliver that truth with tact and with kindness as much as possible. But I don't think in this interview she did anything else besides that. I think it was very matter of fact. It was very direct. And I think, she threw some anecdotes in there and cracked a few jokes to lighten the mood. But to be very honest, that wasn't an intellectual conversation that I think she was an equal in. I think she literally had to shrink herself in that space to, again, make sure he and everyone on staff felt okay about her answers, about her positions, about her responses. And even in that moment, I was taking notes about how to advocate for yourself and what that looks like for you and for the other person. So for me, the ways I've tried to advocate for myself is I'm a better writer than I am a speaker. Now, I can speak for myself, right? But writing allows me to properly process my thoughts and find the right language and the vocabulary. And it gives me the time to make sure that what I say is what I truly feel and the way that I want to represent it. Sometimes when you speak, you just firing off, right? But I like to write things out if I'm going to send something, of course, that is sensitive, right? Or emotionally driven. I try to write things out. And for me, as a baby advocator, someone who's just beginning to draw lines in the sand and stand up for herself and speak up for herself, for me, I've done that in ways of just writing, and then I'll send a paragraph, or I'll write a letter, or I'll put it in an email, or, you know, I'll write down some notes and then I'll speak based on that. So that's helped me. So I say all of that to say, one thing I am actually really, really excited about is going into this new decade is not getting along to go along anymore. Like, if it's not something I subscribe to personally, if it's not something that I agree with, something that I want to participate in, if it's not something that I believe and can stand behind 100%, if it's not something that is true regarding me, I am speaking up. And there's a level of awareness and spirituality and discernment that comes with that too. So I wouldn't advise to just be out here, whatever comes out of my mouth. However, I think because I have been maturing over the last 10, 15 years in my walk with Christ, I pray before I speak. I pray before I write. And that has helped me advocate for myself.